I grew up on the farm, so we'd always have things to fix, and we just grew up building stuff. If we needed something, we'd make it. So we're lucky enough that my dad invested in some woodworking equipment, so that with my, playing around with tools as a kid, it came naturally. We all learned how to woodwork since we were pretty young, but it's grown into something that I never could have anticipated it being. I'm Adam Eddy. I'm the designer and builder and founder of Eddycrest Sewing Furniture, and we've been making sewing furniture here in Woodstock for about 7 years. We started by making something for my mother, who has a quilt shop. I was looking at the way she was working. Things weren't quite working out, so I said I'll take a crack at it, see what I can come up with. So by talking with her, we realized that we could make something that was a little better than what was currently available. So we started making sewing furniture, made a desk for her. The customers started seeing what she had, asking about it, and then sooner than later we realized we had a product that could actually work for a lot of people. It might be perceived that having your own business gives you a lot of unique flexibility. It also gives you a whole lot of responsibility that you wouldn't have to generally undertake if you were working for somebody. So that's kind of the biggest eye-opener. As things grow, you realize that there's a new task, a new job you have to learn, and so it's challenging. Starting out from scratch for a business, it's tricky. You have to understand that you're not going to be able to get that security that you would normally get from taking a job. It's very tricky at the beginning. For me, it took finding my niche before the business became financially sound. You can't be all things to everything, so you gotta find what you're good at, what you're strong at. You gotta be adaptable. You gotta be ready to take a challenge. You got to be driven. You have to have a mindset that you're going to be going out there on a limb. You're going to be your own boss. So you have to have discipline in order to make sure you create your business to a stable point. And you have to have the ambition to also to take it past that stable point and keep challenging yourself. You have to be constantly testing yourself. And you grow and you learn a lot about the way you work, about yourself, and about your business just by keeping that challenge on. Creating a culture. It's one of the most interesting things about creating a business. I started out, I was by myself for a long time. A large part of my early stages was just usually myself in the shop, and occasionally if I really got bunkered down with a lot of work, I'd call in somebody for like a couple days or something. But we've grown to the point where there's 3 of us full-time in the shop, and we've created a culture in the shop that's it's very loose, it's very open, and so it makes things easier, because now you're all on the same page. You get things done easier, you get things done quicker, just based on the fact that you all are kind of in that same mindset. We've worked with a bunch of local businesses that have really supported us from the beginning, and without that support, we'd have a lot of trouble trying to make things work. So it's tricky when you're a new business because there's no map in front of you. You get into something, you want to find something new, it's a pretty blind search. So to have resources in Oxford and in Woodstock has been really beneficial, that we can pick up the phone, ask somebody who's an expert in what they do, and get that guidance. Not knowing where you're going is sometimes very tricky. Oxford's such a tight-knit community that it seems like it's a 1 or 2 degree of separation. People are ambitious and hardworking, so you kind of get those things instilled into you from a young age, and I think that's part of the draw that made me want to come back. Even though it's a hard-working culture, but still people like to know how to have fun and enjoy what's around them. Local entrepreneurs are really the future of community. They're become the foundation of it. Industry is for a while got away from being built right around you. I feel that it's important for you to be able to go to someone in your community and ask them, would you be able to build this for me? Or I saw your product here, it looks like it would fit my needs. So I feel that we've found a niche market, and that we're making something that's not just the best in our community, we're trying to make something that's the best in all communities. So we want to be that solution. We want people to come to us and know us and have the trust that this is Eddycrest, this is Adam Eddy, he's standing behind his products. Building trust in a business is probably one of the most difficult things you can have. If you're trying to sell to someone, you know, far away, and it's trust that what you're showing on or seeing on a website is what it is. So one of the biggest benefits is to physically see, touch, feel what you're going to be purchasing. And so when people are local, when people come into my mother's quilt shop where we display our stuff, they get to see, they get to touch, they get to feel, and they actually get to have a one-on-one with myself or John or Eli or anybody from the business. So it's really beneficial to actually have that presence. So we're lucky enough to have a storefront that people can just pop in, say hi, see what we make, and then once you see our products, hopefully they speak for themselves. Is the financial risk of starting your own business worth it? You're going to have days where you're going to say no, but overall, yeah, absolutely. It's the independence you get from creating something that's, you know, it's yours. You're growing it from nothing. So it's really neat to see something evolve. You know, every time I look back at what I started as, it's such a difference. And things are so much easier now than they ever were, even though you're doing more complex things and larger markets, and everything just seems to be a little bit more complicated, but it still seems easier. You get to a point where your answers start to come a little more naturally, and you don't just seem to get hung up on things. And that's a big part of a business, is understanding what the next step is and tackling it. So I find that, yeah, it's fun when you get into it. It's a lot of work, but it's worth it. My name is Adam Eddy. My business is Eddycrest Design and Build, also known as Eddycrest Sewing Furniture, and I'm Oxford proud.